Hello, everybody. And due to technical difficulties, I know if you're watching on YouTube, you saw that for some reason everything went kapooey. So I'm just going to start here and hopefully upload later. I hate doing that because I enjoy doing it live. But the reason the first of all, wishes for the world. Today, the topic was in regard to you making changes. And if you saw and you know that you've gone through all kind of extremes to make changes, and then there are people in your life that don't want to acknowledge those changes, of course we say get rid of them, because basically they're like the eyesore, they're the poison, they're the piece of life that you don't need. Because in order for you to excel, to grow, to be a better person, to be the best human that you want to be, you have got to make sure that you put like-minded people around you. But I was having a conversation with one of my good friends. Her name is Donisha. And we were talking about someone very close and dear to me who makes me feel very inadequate, hurtful, despite, and so I just was like, you know what, when you get into relationships like that and they're close to you, then you just have to leave them alone. Let them come around when they're ready to come around. If they don't want to come around, that's their loss. There's nothing that you've done, and you shouldn't be made to feel like you've done anything when you haven't. So I guess one of the things about our topic today was, if you were feeling like someone was gaslighting you, and knowingly, that you're not crazy and that you haven't done anything wrong to that person or to those people or people, persons, and places or things, then you've got to get on an even keel where you feel happy about yourself and you're not feeling like, you're being slighted because somebody else can't be happy about who they are. I mean, even with me going into the things that I'm going into, I know I'm going to succeed. It's a matter of me finding that path that takes me down the path. And those of people who are hateful, spiteful, angry, jealous, I don't have time for them. I really do not have time for them in my life. And then it would drive you practically crazy trying to figure out who they were, right? But unfortunately, you know that those people exist, and those are the people that you've got to stay away from. And I know that sometimes these kind of conversations, they seem trivial and things that you should already know, but sometimes we get taken advantage of spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and in different ways, and we're not able to figure out how we're going to get on that even path. So this is one of those topics today that we're talking about, in wishing for the world. You know what I'm saying? I wish that you find happiness for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry so much about what I do, what somebody else does, what you see someone else may have had that you don't have. Just get for yourself, because the bottom line is nobody's worried about you when they're going out doing what they got to do for themselves. So just keep that in mind. But one of the most important things, I think, too, is for us to kind of focus on the healing process that you have to make for who you are. I know that we have talked about things like this before, but one of the things, like going in our world today, when we saw the whole situation with the fella who went and blew up the bank. Now, I don't know all of the specifics. I do know that his mother was contacted by one of his best friends, or one of his roommate, and he told her that he was headed towards that bank, and he had a gun. And instead of the mom, she was not able to focus on some of the things that you should be able to focus on when you're not closely involved. In other words, she was so closely involved with the fact that this was her son. She had so many questions, so many things that were unanswered. And one of the things that she said to the police was that they don't even own a gun. Where did he get a gun? Well, in this day and age, we got to go past that, because people, especially when our children are grown, they can do whatever they want, however they want. And unfortunately, the decision that they make, to turn their life into something other than what we've given them as a path, is not ours to make anymore. And the only thing we can do is pray about it. I'm not saying, wishing anything bad on that situation or that woman or whatever. I so sympathize with her, because having a son, I would be worried as well. If I had a daughter, I would be worried, whatever. So it's so upsetting that these things have been happening, in our world today, and we're unable to really prioritize where these things are coming from in terms of your own life. On a spiritual level, we have been told that things were going to happen. You know what I mean? In a in the sense of the world, all these bad things happening in the world. They've been prophesied to take place and to happen, and so because of that, the people that are involved in it, unfortunately, the only thing we can do is we can continue to be in a place where we stay in good favor with God, and try to learn the positives that we can out of life and take the best out of life that we can take out of it. That's the only thing that we can do. But for many of us, like I said, that may be going through certain things, and that you're working very hard to make things better for yourself, then it's important that you make sure. Why is my camera not working? It's important that you make sure that you're doing the things that you should for yourself. So I'll upload this. Please put your feedback. Please put your thoughts and what your point of view is on this in the comments. Thank you.